Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fold and flip. That's the flavor of the season. This is the Z Fold 5. Well, that's for another day, another season. We talk about these two one. These two one are the flips, the Samsung Z Flip 5 and the Moto Razr 40 Ultra. Now, Moto Razr has been iconic. Like, I'll tell you something very honestly. Ever since Moto Razr first came, I have used that phone to really appeal to a lot of the girlfriends, to the other opposite sex, and a lot of people have been really very attracted to that phone, that form factor, because that was unique. It was so sharp that you could use that as a knife. Something of an exaggeration, but anyways, now this is the new generation and this is 21st century. So we have a fold, completely screen which folds out. Now the Razr which came earlier and this one is not the same. There's a lot of difference, and if you're in the market for a flip, now these two are the best ones, which will look good in your hand, is expensive, but also we'll get the conversation started. Let's talk about the design first. The Z Flip 5 comes with the IP-X8 rating, but the Moto Razr 40 Ultra comes with the IP50 rating. Okay, let's dig a bit. IP52 is dust and water repellent, whereas IP-X8 has no dust protection, but it is highly water resistant. Now, if you don't really plan to take a dip in a swimming pool, Moto Razr 40 Ultra should be your choice and save you from dust also. In terms of design, the aluminum finish design of the Samsung Z Flip is very neat. Actually, it's very nice because now there is no gap also. You know, the Z Flip 4 had a little punched-up gap. This is completely gapless. Also looks very nice with rounded edges and very premium. But the Moto Razr 40 Ultra with this magenta vegan leather at the back really is something that will completely bowl you over in terms of design. In terms of design, Moto Razr 40 Ultra does have an edge over it. What else is an edge is the outside screen is completely end-to-end display. You see, there's bezel-less. You can completely actually play a game in this. Now, when it comes to the Samsung 3.4 inch, and there is this cutout here for the gaps for the cameras. Now, this is a problem area because this one, if you see, is a more foolproof. I'll leave that to you. In terms of design, I think the Moto Razr 40 Ultra wins over. Moto Razr 40 Ultra is creaseless. You see the way it folds out kind of completely gives the feeling that there's no crease. Whereas on the other hand, Samsung Z Flip 5 crease is subtly visible. For a folding phone, that's kind of a deal breaker. Let's talk about the display. Samsung has a 3.4 inch outer screen. The Moto Razr 40 Ultra has a 3.6 inch outer screen. Also allows every other app on the outer screen as opposed to Flip 5, which limits what users can do on the outer screen. On the Moto Razr, you can watch videos, browse the web, make payments, and do everything you can on the outer screen, you would on the inner screen also. One should also note that the outer screen on the Z Flip 5 is 60 Hz. The main screen is standard affair, both OLED display with 108p resolution and uses a tall 22:9 aspect ratio. The refresh rate and is drastically different with 120 Hz for the Z Flip 5 and 144 Hz for the Moto Razr 40 Ultra. However, watching content on the bigger screen is more pleasing on the Z Flip 5 as it produces natural and punchier colors than the Moto Razr Ultra in spite of having a smaller screen than the Moto Razr Ultra. That's something we have to keep in mind. Now, we did one special test for you. It's called the 4K viewing test. We watched movies in both the phones together on full charge and full resolution in 4K. And the Z Flip 5, you know how much it did? It did 3 hours 48 minutes. But the Moto Razr 40 Ultra lasted us 4 hours 12 minutes. This 20 minutes of extra viewing time on 4K is because this Moto Razr comes with a 3800 mAh battery. This one comes with a 3700 mAh battery. This 100 mAh of battery gives you 20 minutes of extra viewing time. In 4K, that is, that's a big difference. Moto Razr has done everything spot on. It's got the same specs, it's got a fully loaded screen, the battery, but they used the last year's processor, which is the Snapdragon 8 generation plus 1. But the Samsung comes with the latest Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor, which makes the performance really very enhanced because in terms of the little things which you use, makes the user experience completely different. Now, both of them are not camera phones. Having said that, both of them are a dual camera setup with 12MP plus 30MP on the Moto Razr and 12MP plus 12MP on the Samsung. Both of them miss a telephoto lens, which means you really can't do those moonshot zooming photos. If you are looking for a camera smartphone, look somewhere else because they are surely proud of that. But we've taken some sample pictures for you to draw your own inference.
So this is a little front camera test of the Galaxy Z Flip and the Moto Razr 40 Ultra using the L-shaped form factor of these devices to record video and check stability. Also, you are hearing the audio from both the devices simultaneously.
If you have to really pick between the two, I would personally go with Samsung in spite of it having less megapixel camera, but because of its color saturation and the way it's processing the image. Let's move on to performance. Now when I talk about performance, we're talking about some real techie shit, We're talking about CPU benchmark testing using Geekbench, and the Samsung Z Flip 5 secured 2008 scores, whereas the Moto Razr 40 Ultra secured 1825 scores. People do not buy these devices for heavy gaming, but you will face no issues loading and playing power-hungry games like the BGMI or COD in high settings. Both the devices are using 8GB RAM and 256GB of storage as a base variant, and both run on Android 13. Moto sticking to its clean Android aesthetic trumps Samsung's One UI. Now there's one more place where the Moto Razr really scores over the Samsung Z Flip 5, which is the charging, because this can charge in 30-watt capacity, this 25-watt capacity. Now come on, these small little things makes a complicated affair, and both of them are very good clamshell flip phones. I've done some heavy notes for that, but I've come to the conclusion that both these flip phones I'm personally not going to use. I'm going to settle with the Z Fold 5, which we are reviewing next. But for you, if you want to take a pic of this Moto Razr 40 Ultra, you will tilt this over because in terms of the outer 3.6-inch screen is more practical than the Samsung, but Samsung has more bigger processor. But in day-to-day life, this will make more sense. It's more premium. But having said that, Samsung also is not bad. It's actually boils down to your user preference, because if you like the Samsung UI, then this is something that you'll go for. And if you like this design element, the Moto Razr also is a good. Both of them are very good clamshell devices, but I think that for a heavy user, this still needs to be a second phone. It will still sometime when they can make this one primary phone, because if you're a heavy user, flipping this out all the time with this jhatka can be a dangerous affair, because whenever I'm doing this, it looks very flashy and very nice. But at the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, what if this leaves this hinge and goes and slaps the next person around? I could be in serious trouble. What do you say? And what do you say about this video? If you like this review, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Share it, because the more you do that, the more we do that. Until the next one, you take care and let me know which one would you flip for.